going on? How's everybody doing tonight? Saturday night here at Recovering Addict. We got a little new setup, so we are messing with audio. So you guys have to help us out here and tell us what you can or cannot hear. Let us know in the comments what's going on with y'all. So do we sound good or do we not? Give them an audio test there, babe.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
We got the microphones on. I think I have them turned up to where they need to be. Are we too loud or are we too quiet? Let me know, please. We should be live on Facebook tonight, too, on Recovering Addicts Facebook page. Not group, but page. Let's see if that's happening. Supposed to be. Supposed to be. I don't see it. But I don't see it. Nope, I don't see it. Maybe. Maybe not. Are we live on YouTube right now? Well, what's up, Dennis Gill? Volume's a little low.
It popped up on my phone.
Can you hear us good?
Let's try this and try this.
No.
What's going on, Corey? Welcome to the show. Hey, Lynn, how you doing tonight? Hey, give him an audio check.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? Hello, hello.
All right, I think that might be good. Let me see if I got my mix wrong. Input, let me crank this up to this side. Tell me if that's too much. How's that? Testing 125 925 3 Saturday night. Here we are. 801 live broadcast here at Recovering Addict.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Corey.
Corey. What? Where's that at? Washington? Beham, Washington? All right, Corey. Is this your first time on our live stream right here? If it is, I'll let you know about myself and go ahead and tell me about yourself here. Yep, hear you just fine. Awesome, Lynn. If you notice, I got Fleece's own microphone. I got my own microphone, so we're not all trying to scream in the middle. And then if Linky comes in here, he can share with one of us. He made me some pretty good coffee tonight, too.
Yeah, look, our color looks good.
Oh, good. Looking a little more professional. Every little bit, every little day, we're trying to make this more professional, more to do with anything to make it go your way. That almost rhymed if I was really cool. Hey, thanks for your help with the volume. If there's any other technical things that you see, let me know. Hey, what happened to James tonight? I noticed he had some technical difficulties this morning when he was trying to go live, and now he didn't go live at his regularly scheduled time. I know he's committed to it, so I'm wondering if he's having technical difficulties. I did read on this third-party app that I use to live stream. It was telling me that there's such a overflux of people online right now with YouTube and Facebook and streaming and all that because everybody's sitting at home not doing nothing, that their servers are getting jammed up. So if you guys have noticed, we've been experiencing a lot of the little circles going on of waiting. That's one reason. U.S. is now number 1 in coronavirus cases. Ugh, that just makes me. Yeah, I just found you on YouTube. Awesome. Were you searching? I got 15 months at the end of this month. Dude, that's awesome. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're here to talk about. It's recovery. We are here to recover because we recover better together. I help you guys recover with my little bit of knowledge. And then because I get to help you guys, you help me. And then with the stuff you say in the comments, hey, what's up, Merc?
Howdy,
Welcome.
Merc.
Howdy, folks.
Howdy, y'all. I'll work on that.
We help each other, and it's awesome. We hang out. Sometimes we hang out for an hour. Sometimes we hang out for 4 hours. Tonight's Saturday night, so we will run until we get bored and tired, and same with you.
Holly, you're back. Where have you been?
What's up? There's my homeboy from New Jersey, the boy from Philly, Polly Pinch. We're doing good, brother. I was thinking about you yesterday. Doing good. So, Corey, let me tell you about myself. So there's 2 times in my life I was addicted to drugs or alcohol and hit rock bottom both times. One time was in the early 2000s. I was a meth addict. I was a homeless tweaker towards the end of my run, and I committed a 2nd-degree felony and then ended up in jail for 1 year and did 2 years on probation. So that's where meth got me. And then in my late 30s, I became a raging alcoholic, drinking fifths of whiskey at night as much as I could on the weekend until that landed me in a detox center and a detox hospital, which then I spent 4 days there and then checked myself into an IOP program. And I spent 5 months in an intense outpatient program where I completed all the way up to step 5 in the 12-step program before I transitioned in late February, and then started this channel in early January, just posting a couple of production videos, and been wanting to tell people about recovery, share my story, let her share her story of having to live and be married to an alcoholic and addict and what that is kind of like. And so that's why we're here. That's what we're on the show for. You got 15 months clean. We're proud of you. Can't wait till Veronica gets on the show. We got something special for her today.
I hope she's here.
No, she'll be here. What's up, Gina? Welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Yeah, I'm glad you found us too, Corey. More the merrier. So just out of curiosity, because I don't know what happens on that side of YouTube, but here I try to tag, I try to put keywords in my description so that's so this type of stuff is easy to find when you're searching. Can you kind of give me a little bit of specifics on how you searched? Maybe help me to dial that in a little better. Hey, Nicole, what's going on? I will never let her know. I will let her know. Why did I say never?
She'll never know. Hi, Raina.
So there's a rumor on the street about Veronica today, and this is it. Check it out. Did you hear that Veronica was 10 days clean?
What? No way, 10 days?
Did you hear that Veronica hasn't done drugs for 10 days?
No way.
Veronica, we are so proud of you.
Good job.
Yeah, Veronica. 10 days.
Congratulations.
10 days. We're
Tell us
loving
how
it.
you did it.
Yeah, let us know. How'd you do that? I just searched recovery group and you were the #1 hit. No kidding. Well, just let me do this real quick, Corey. Just going to pat myself on the back. Yeah, proud of Veronica. We are very proud. I don't know about you guys, but I've been praying for Cody. Cody's been on my heart. I understand the struggle. We'll play it a few more times for you. That was fun.
Yeah, let us know if you have birthdays. Might make you something special.
Yep. So I'm going to start doing little stuff like that here and there. I don't know. I might do you know how these chips are, you know, in the sequence they are. I might start setting up things like that for when people pop in here. We got a new fella in the group. Everybody say hi to Corey. He is from Beham, Washington, if I'm even saying that correct. Raina, how you doing?
Bam. He's from Bam.
Yeah. Tell me when to push play when he's ready, and I will do it again. No doubt about it. I'm proud of it. I have to. I probably should stare at the comments first. I actually found an earlier vid, but I subscribed. Hey, what's up, Melissa? Hey, Mama Kitty. Dang it, I lost it. Boom, I'm gonna put it up here so I can read it. Oh man, that's a gorgeous dog. Is that your dog? Beautiful. I thought I shut that off, but I did not.
I don't normally dance, but virtually I'm down. She's ready.
Is she ready?
She's ready.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna play that one more time for Veronica's husband because we are so proud of her. You hear that Veronica was 10 days clean?
What? No way.
Hold on. I got to remove this comment. My bad. Okay, here we go. Sorry. You hear that Veronica was 10 days clean?
What? No way. 10 days?
Did you hear that Veronica hasn't done drugs for 10 days?
No way.
Veronica, we are so proud of you.
Good job.
Just for today. I'm living life like that right now, man. With all the internet jams and bugs, getting kicked out of work and having to telework, you never know what's going to happen every day. So the motto of my life this last month has been just for today, because I plan things and things change. I want to go somewhere and I can't. I try to go to the store to buy something, they're out of it, or I try to go to the store and buy things and they're closed. Tried to go to RC Willie's today. They are only doing You call them, you can do an appointment, and you can pick them up. You can pick it up if you make that appointment. Best Buy, they got like a barricade of circle. You can order, pick it up, and leave. You can't go in the store. I did find a few stores you could go in, and that's kind of how we got this cool new little setup going on here. So that's that. I'm glad that Corey's around. This is cool. Hey, Lisa D, how you doing? So glad you guys are here. So let me give you a little update. I don't normally dance, but boom, boom, boom. Merc, I'd love to see you dance. I really would. Are we far behind on these things? Way to go, Veronica. For sure, but no, just my last name is Wolf. Plus, I work at a dog boarding as a KA and pack lead. Awesome.
That's cool.
We got a gorgeous dog. Let me show you my dog. Whoops. Fumbling around here as usual. I spent all day setting this up, and once you unplug everything, it makes you really nervous to have to set everything back up because you don't know if it's going to work right. And you know the clock's ticking to go time. But there's my dog. That's Megan, purebred German Shepherd. She's a big girl too. She's about 80 pounds.
Super duper hairy. We tried the leaf blower yesterday. It was really funny. It didn't work very good. The Facebook's lie.
So if I start talking, or if it starts getting loud on my side but not loud on hers, let me know, because once I start getting excited and talking fast, my volume goes up as well. That's why my voice runs out in about 45 minutes.
I have an earplug in this ear.
Yeah, I get kind of loud. So Nicole, you're scared of what's going on right now? We should read. I'll have something special for you tomorrow. But don't worry, take it day by day. God's in control. We got this. One day at a time. We're here to help and protect each other as best we can. Comfort each other. Yeah, stop watching the news. I honestly can't believe anything I hear on the news. So I just tune it out. I wake up and deal with it.
I like to watch Dana Lash. If you ever.
She's pretty funny.
Do news.
Do
Dana Lash. She just spews out facts.
Corey's
funny.
sister's name is Megan.
Well.
So go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Lynn, the virus thing is scary for sure. So this is what we've been doing. This last week, we've been going through this book right here called Staying Sober. It's a book about relapse. It's a guide for relapse prevention. It's written by Terrence Gorski. So we've been kind of going through this. We just finished chapter 6. We started dabbling into chapter 7. And we're figuring out that relapse has a syndrome. And relapse is a syndrome. And recovery is not just the abstinence of alcohol. Is that recovery and then relapse is not just using alcohol once you've quit. Relapse is a mental state. Recovery is a mental state. It's getting over these character defects, these tragedies that we've gone through, this incorrect thinking, these old bad habits that have led us into the addiction, led us into doing things that when we grew up as kids, we did not imagine. I can imagine that any of you, if you're a heroin user and you were using needles, you didn't imagine yourself when you were 10 years old. One day I'm going to be slamming heroin, I know I'm 40 years old and I remember being 10 years old and the crack epidemic and all that stuff, the Just Say No, the Reagans and all that. So I know the stigma around a junkie. And I know that as we were kids, we did not think we would be doing that. So what got us there? I know tragedies in some cases get us there. And just over time, the way that we've trained our mind to think. And that's the kind of stuff that we have to undo. Once we quit drinking, we quit using drugs, we have to recorrect and retrain our minds. And we have to start heading in this direction instead of back in that direction. We learned from chapter 7, the beginning of it, that recovery is like walking up an escalator that's on its way down. So you're walking up a down escalator, and if you stop, you're going back down. Just like with recovery. If you don't stop heading forward in recovery, you're going to start heading backwards. And that is recovery. What you looking up?
How do I start a new note page? I'm going to make notes.
Oh.
This one?
Yep. So recovery is like walking up a down escalator. It is impossible to stand still. Relapse syndrome equals PAW, which is post-acute withdrawal, symptom management. How are we managing these symptoms? How are we catching our early warning signs when they are happening subconsciously? The relapse process does not only involve the act of taking a drink or using drugs, it is the progression that creates the overwhelming need of alcohol and drugs. There's things that can happen. There's this, the relapse syndrome is the sobriety-based disease of addiction. So when you start relapsing, you have a change. You're in recovery. Say the change happens. We read a story in here about a guy who went from night shift to day shift. That change caused him stress. And then he enters denial that his stress isn't affecting him. It's just like when we're alcoholics or drug addicts. I'm okay. I'm doing fine. We deny it. And when you're sober, when you're in your post-acute withdrawal syndrome symptoms, you do the same thing with your stress and your depression or anything like that. The first change happens, you're affected, you end up having this stress, but you're telling people and you're telling yourself, I got this, I'm okay, instead of reaching out for help. That's denial. And then you enter into the post-acute withdrawal symptoms, and then your behavior change. And in your behavior changing, there's a breakdown in your social structure. You stop doing the things that you normally would do. Maybe you were attending AA and NA meetings. Those are less frequent. You're not as upbeat and energetic with your friends, and they notice a little change in you. And then after that, you start losing control of your judgment, and then you lose control of your behavior, and then your option reduction is lowered. Your acute, there's acute degeneration, and then boom, you're right back to using. Meaning that before you even start using drugs or alcohol again after you quit, relapse started the moment there was a change and you didn't handle it correctly, whatever the symptom or trigger that happened. Where are we at here? Merc, I'm going to need you to come arrest me.
Yeah, step away from the TV. Watch Dana.
I'm using my eating disorder to cope with all this coronavirus stuff. Yeah, that's another trigger. So we got to figure out where you're at in the relapse progression, if that's a thing. So the change has happened. We're all experiencing this change right now. Life is not what, think about 1 month ago. Was life anything like it is right now? Not for me, not at all. So there was a huge change. Not only is there a huge change in our daily functions, our daily interactions with each other, the isolation, but there's this overlooming fear. And then if you live in Utah, you had an earthquake on top of that. So you got your literally world was rattled. So these are stressful times. How are you handling this stress? Are you reaching out and venting? Are you getting it off your chest? Are you processing it with friends and sponsors and counselors and loved ones and moms and dads and grandparents or whatever, whoever you can lean on for emotional support, you need to be talking to right now about it. Don't act like everything's fine when inside, just like Real Talk, her after what Nicole, she's admitting, I'm scared. That's getting it out there. Now you guys know how to comfort her, and we can pray for each other as well. Let's see what Veronica said. I literally had to stop with the news and the media. I'm doing everything I can to keep me and my family safe. And that is all I can do. Everything else is just scaring me and making me anxiety. Yeah. Good. Just turn it off. We know what's going on. We know there's a virus. It's out there and it's coming. The better you take care of yourself, the better protected you are. Take the measures. Do what you can to protect yourself and don't stress about it. And help and pray for those that are hurting. Nicole's eating everything, and Lynn had a Ritz cracker for breakfast.
Hi, Rosie.
Rosie D.
I don't think I told you hi.
Yes, needs nutrition. That is so true. Sometimes I want to act like I'm okay, but then I know I have to be honest and talk about it. It helps to let it out. There's this part in this book I keep going back to. I've probably read it dang near every night in a row. But it's a part of managing your post-acute withdrawal syndrome. It talks about verbalization. You have to verbalize it, and then after that, you have to vent it. So verbalization is start talking to people who you are not going to start talking to people who are not going to accuse, criticize, or minimize. You need to talk about what you are experiencing. It will help you look at your situation more realistically. It will help you bring internal symptoms to your conscious awareness, and it will give you support when you need others to rely on. Express as much as you can about what you're thinking and feeling, even if it seems irrational and unfounded. Let it out. Get it out there. And I love how by letting it out, it brings it to your conscious awareness. It's something about saying it out loud. Sometimes I don't get how to do things, and I'll have to just run it by her or run it by somebody else. But I say it out loud, and I'm done. It's like brought to my conscious awareness, and I get it. Oh, never mind. I just had to say it out loud to somebody. There's healing in saying things out loud. It's really powerful. Our number of positive tests are higher because we have the ability to give more tests.
It's true. And there was a backlog. So it looks like there was a spike, but it was just a backlog of tests.
That's what I said, Rosie. Said the opposite thing happens when you stop eating. Your body actually stores fat and eats muscle. But Lynn B, she's a very smart lady. She knows this stuff. Lynn knows exactly what she's doing, but she still never answered the question from the other night if she's happy or not. I was thinking about that, Lynn. Just let it out. Let me go. Let me hit that live button and let it out. And then you read all these positive comments and I don't know. It's uplifting to me. It helps me pass the time when I self-isolate. Not eating helps you pass the time?
Exercising.
Oh, I was like, that would get awfully
just be
boring.
to just sit there, just not eating.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Huh. Supposedly we're streaming on YouTube, but Facebook. I don't see it, but I don't even know if I could see it if I was looking. I guess I'll have to. Nah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'll have to tie into that next time. It's something I tried to do last second, trying to figure out all this technology all the time. So, interrupting that, you got to interrupt that. That's the stuff that we need to interrupt as soon as you see that stuff happening. So there's phases and warning signs of relapse. Now catch this. The relapse process causes the recovering person to feel pain and discomfort when not drinking. This pain and discomfort can become so severe that a recovering person becomes unable to live normally when not drinking and feels that taking a drink cannot be any worse than the pain of staying sober. 37 warning signs of relapse were identified in 1973 by Terence Gorski. Through the completion of the clinical interviews with 118 recovering patients, the recovering people had 4 things in common. See if you guys can relate to this. They had completed a 21 or a 28-day rehabilitation program for alcoholism. They had recognized that they were recovering people and could not safely use drugs or alcohol. They had been discharged with the conscious intent of remaining permanently sober by using both Alcoholics Anonymous and professional outpatient counseling. And number 4, they had eventually returned to drinking despite their initial commitments to remain sober. So 1, they completed 28-day rehabilitation program. 2, they knew step 1 was true about themselves, that they were powerless over alcohol and their lives were unmanageable. 3, they discharged from this place, these treatment facilities, with a conscious intention of remaining clean and sober. And number 4, they relapsed. So this interviews with these 118 people brought the conclusion that there are 37 warning signs of relapse.
Jeez.
So if you fit that core category, I guarantee probably 37 of these warning signs fit you as well as me. I just licked my finger. Don't do that.
You're like the CDC lady. Do not touch your face.
Oh, sweet. She's happy. That's good.
Well, she's no.
Am I happy? Ah, it's a question mark. I didn't see the question mark on the small side. I had to bring it up here, make it big. Feeling pretty numb. Pretty numb. Maybe we should make a little video for Linby. So we can get her to laugh. It helps, to be honest, even if that means I will betray my own pride. Yeah. And pride, you have to betray your own pride and our egos, right? We were talking about yesterday your reputation. What is your reputation built on, really? I mean, you definitely want to be a person of good character, people can rely on, trustworthy, honest, uplifting, but how people perceive you is not something you want to worry about. Who cares what people think about you? Because honestly, at the end of the day, their thoughts about you or me change my life not one bit. has nothing, has no physical effect on my life at all. And so that's what happened to me when I came out and told everybody I was an alcoholic, drug addict, and I just came clean with it. Like once I made that video of my story, if you go back to my YouTube channel, the very first video I posted was my story. That was my here I come world. I don't care anymore. And I showed it to a guy at work and he was like, his eyes were like, he was looking around, you know, like, oh my, are you serious? You put this on the internet? I'm like, dude, I don't care. I want people to see it because there's a million of us out there. And anonymity, I think, is something that's going away. I'm sure there's people who do want to protect their anonymity, whatever. But for the most part, in my opinion, anonymity is a thing of the past. Cunning and baffling, powerful. Where do I get a copy? You know what? It would be cool if I had a link in the description and you could buy one, huh? But there's it is. It's just called Staying Sober by Terrence Gorski. Just Amazon. I got on Amazon, and this is no way sponsored by Amazon, but I got on Amazon, and that's where I picked up a copy. I actually asked my counselor as I was on a Tuesday night, I was doing my aftercare. I went into him and I said, "Hey, do you got any more books that you highly suggest that take me a little deeper into this recovery?" And this is the book that he suggested. And so now we're making our way through it. One of my relapse prevention, one of my things to prevent relapse was to read a new book every 2 months. And, you know, you could read a book in a week if you wanted to, but I tried to set realistic expectations because I know if I start raising the bar up here, I'm going to fail and probably fall into a bottle of whiskey. Does this feel more comfortable?
It does feel more comfortable. It feels more roomy.
Yeah.
I don't feel so squished.
We're not squished as we were. It's
It's
none of my business what anyone thinks of me. Yeah, that's true. It is none of our business what somebody else, that's their thoughts. Why worry about it? That's like a waste. That's a super waste of energy. All right. So phase 1, internal change. What are we laughing at?
What shampoo do I use?
Is your hair shiny?
I guess it looks shiny again today.
Oh, it is
It
shiny.
is so long. It's like
Let me see
what,
if it's
11
shiny.
inches long. I can't. It's so.
It's
heavy.
that shiny in person too.
I use right now. I'm using Tresemme, or sometimes I use the Aussie one, or sometimes I use my kids' 3-in-1 shampoo conditioner. All depends on the day and how much money we have. But I don't dry it. It stays wet and I put it in a bun and then it's nice and shiny.
All right.
I want to cut it all off. Anybody who wants to buy some hair, you just let me know. I will sell it for a decent price and you can make some hair extensions.
Can we get back to recovery now?
Yes. I'm writing down that book so they can get it. Gorski.
Terrence Gorski.
Boom.
Pretty cool name.
That's the
All right. So phase 1, right? So we're going to slowly work through these,
You're welcome, Rosie.
through
Rosie
these,
liked me.
I know she did. We're gonna just slowly work through these 37 warning signs, and they're actually in phases. There's like 4 or 5 different phases, but phase 1 is an internal change inside you. It says during this phase, I look good on the outside, but I start using old, addictive ways of thinking and managing feelings that make me feel bad on the inside. And the most common relapse warning signs are: number 1, increased stress. I begin to feel more stressed than usual, and sometimes this is the result of a problem or a situation that is easy to see. Other times, it is the result of little problems that cause stress to build up slowly over time, like a messy house or laundry, or just little stuff around the house. They can start getting the dishes being full. Those are the little stresses. The big stresses are what we're kind of experiencing now with this coronavirus, the whole change. I mean, the whole world changed overnight, and that's a big stress. So internal changes is, how are you feeling? Are you starting to use old addictive ways of thinking to manage the feelings that you're feeling now about what has changed, this increased stress? How are you managing that? Because if you don't get on top of it and manage it properly with a positive coping mechanism, you're going to cause yourself pain in the future. What is that? It's pain, alcohol, and drug abuse equals instant gratification or instant pleasure plus future pain. You can replace that with pain plus compulsive behavior, not doing positive outlets for coping equals instant pleasure plus future pain. So we have to get through that without using the addictive drugs, alcohol, compulsive behaviors. We have to replace that chunk with positive coping mechanisms. And increased stress is one of the most common relapse warning signs in phase 1 in internal change. Thoughts? What do you guys think? Staying Sober by Terrence Gorski. Thank you for answering. Oh, okay. Keep reading, I guess. No comments. I keep reading. Oh, yeah. And you guys, as I always say, wait, hold on. Right here. We recover better together. Let me just put that up there for y'all.
Oh, I see on the bottom.
What?
No, I see it.
Oh, you didn't see that last night or yesterday? So, Corey, another thing we do here is we've been live every night. This is the day 13, I believe, Saturday night, Sunday. Yeah, this is day 13 for us in a row of being live. And I don't plan on stopping my live stream every night until this supplement for recovery fellowship is actually back to normal with physical fellowship. Then I'll slow down. Until then, if it's months, years, we're here every night until things drastically change back to the normal, which I don't think they ever will. But we're here every night at 8:00. And if you want to help us out in this thing that we're trying to do here, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and share some of the videos on your social media.
Oh, hey, Cody.
Hey, Cody. Thank you for appreciating us. Appreciate it. I'm glad you're back. Been praying for you. Hope you're doing well. Hope we didn't scare you off with all that. Get your butt to IOP last night. Everybody's like, go. What are you doing? Get in there. Who
It's like,
cares?
What'd you decide? Did you decide to go?
Yeah, where you at? What you thinking? What you thinking on today? So Cody's going through some stress, and he's handling them well. He's here talking with us, chatting with us. He's getting them off his chest, and he's doing the right thing. His mind is in the right place.
Stinking thinking. There's that stinking thinking again. Corey Wolf.
Oh, was you drunk? Were you drunk? I have to agree. If you're just trying to sit it out, stuff gets stink. Yep, there's that stinking thinking. You're growing in people. I looked last night. It was at 275 or something like that. Good job. Yeah, we are.
Oh,
We're
thanks,
up to
Mama.
309 now, I believe. Let me check. I will let you know. Wow, 319. We're actually going kind of fast this week. Yeah, it's positive. And the cool thing is that we get to talk about recovery. Like I said, that anonymity to me is gone. And I think other people are starting to feel that same thing. There's a shift. There's a shift in the way that the world is viewing addicts. It really reminds me of the military side of things. When you look at the guys that came back from Vietnam, people were spitting on them, screw you, killers, murderers back then, right? Now they come home, they get a parade. There's people in the airport cheering them on. They come back and they're heroes. Same about the same time frame. You have the crack epidemic. You got the war on drugs. You got Nancy Reagan saying, just say no. The police force, they're told to go out and arrest their way out of this epidemic of crack and drugs. And so they're like, screw you, junkie, you're going down. And they're less than human, but there's a shift now. There's more treatment facilities. There's this view of addiction and addict people. I mean, you see billboards now all over the time about the opioid epidemic, that they have families, their brothers, their sons, their daughters, their loved ones, their family, their people, they're human beings. Addicts are human beings. And I think with this shift, it's a good time to be jumping out and talking about it, because that anonymity and the ability to mass help people, because people are seeing addicts differently now.
Yeah,
Sure,
I think
they're
so.
criminals. Sure, they did some bad things. I'm at work, so I'm sober today.
That's
Nice.
good. One day at a time.
One day at a time, man. One day at a time. Thank you, Rosie. Every night. You guys are awesome. Yeah, every night, man. We're here. And if you notice, if you comment and I don't say something about your comment for like 10 to 30 seconds, there is a lag between what you guys are seeing and what we're actually producing. No, heck no. It didn't work for me at all. I couldn't say no. I didn't want to say no either. Cody, we made a special video for Veronica because she is 10 days clean today. So we'll make you a special video at 10 days as well. Everybody throw your birthdays up there. I want to see, or throw your sobriety dates or your how many days sober. If we got milestones coming up, we'll see if we can do something special for you.
Yeah, I'll write it down so I don't forget.
Yeah, we'll write this down. Felicia's taking notes.
I got notes on all y'all's.
What's up, buddy? Really? Corey, this is my son, Link. There's a new guy in the chat. His name's Corey.
Welcome, Corey.
2015, 7/13. Wow. Nicole, I didn't know you had that much sobriety under your belt.
Jeez.
I thought you were a newbie like me. Wow, look at that. 2003.
Whoa.
Good job, Alicia. Man,
That's
that's before you were born, honey.
Ah,
Just kidding.
that's 17 years.
Yeah. Oh, she's told us 17 years before. I remember that.
that's older than you, Linky.
January 30th. Oh, we know. Merck's 2008. Hi, Link.
Corey.
Raina is 2012. I was trying to keep hitting Merck's. 2008. Wow, good job, Merck.
Whoa.
And the
no,
cool thing is Merck, man, you're
he's
just a solid foundation. When I look at Merck and his comments and watch some of his videos on his channel, you just get this solid like if I had no place to go and I was hurting, I would run to Merck's house.
Your Veronica, your sober birthday, not your for real birthday,
What'd you put?
January 30th.
Yeah.
That's not 10 days.
It's not 10 days ago?
I'll let you said sober days or birthdays. I thought you
Oh.
said birthdays.
Well, those are how much I was paying attention.
Merc, you've been sober 8 days before my actual real birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1/13/2008. You're
So-
1/21/08,
He got sober a few days before you were born.
Yeah.
like a week.
Wow, that's cool.
Which I keep hitting my thing.
That is way cool. Okay, I'm caught up now. That's funny. Gina's 2002. Man, you guys are making me feel bad.
What's August, like the 9th month?
Yeah. Wow.
Merc's awesome.
Okay.
It's linked with a Y.
Why?
Yeah, why? Let's see.
You
I
made
had
it that way.
Gina. Let me get your birthday on here.
That was a.
Wowza. Wowza, wowza, wowza.
That's an expression.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm definitely giving it my all. I ain't giving up this time. I'll tell you that.
Lynn's got 90 days in 2 days.
The thing that sucked about becoming an alcoholic is it snuck up on me. I was a meth addict tweaker and I knew I was an addict because I had to go to a recovery program. I was in a halfway house for 4 months where I had to do counseling 3 days a week, drug tests. They'd kick us out of bed, throw us in the hallway, drug test us while dogs were sniffing our rooms. So I understood what I put myself through as a meth addict and the places I went and the things that I did. Obviously, I got a 1 to 15 second-degree felony. Plus, I had possession, dirty UAs, and all the other stuff I didn't get caught for. You know what I mean? So I understood drug addicts, and I understood that I was doing bad things, but I didn't understand what addiction was in me. And by the time I was 33 and I started, because I take everything to the max. I started drinking on the weekends, or it wasn't even on the weekends. It was like once or twice a month, once every couple of months at first, and then it turned into barbecues, and then it turned into any time we had a gathering, I'd have a few beers, which led into every weekend, and then led into every night, and then every night increased in volume until it was fifths of whiskey every night and gallons on the weekend. It snuck right up on me. Lynn B's at 88 days. Right
Yeah.
on.
Heard 90s in 2
Oh,
days.
90s into write that down. We can make a little 90s video
Yeah,
for it.
I got that on.
You gotta dress up in the 90s to make it.
Every day is the same struggle. Their substance and problems are always there. We just have to change everything
Oh, eight.
else.
I guess it's the
Amen.
eighth
You
month.
gotta dress up in
Amen.
the 90s to make Lynn B's 90 days.
Almost ruined everybody's birthday.
Alcohol's no joke, man. That's true, Nicole. All right, let's look at now we got this phase 1 internal change. We just looked at the increased stress and how that changes you internally, and now it's a change in your thinking. It says, I began to think my recovery program is not as important as it used to be. When you start thinking your recovery, Merck just said it. When you start thinking that your recovery program is not as important as it used to be, sometimes things are going so well, I don't believe that I need to put a lot of effort into my program. At other times, I have problems that my recovery program doesn't seem to help. And I ask myself, why bother? That's you're on your way to relapse when you're thinking that way. Thoughts? Every day is the same. Oh, I just read that one. And I just read that one. Well, keep reading.
Keep reading.
There's also a change in feeling. I start having unpleasant feelings that I don't like. Sometimes I feel euphoric, like everything is going my way, when I know that it really is not. And other times I feel depressed, like nothing's working out for me. And I know that these mood sweeps are not good for me. And what I do in these mood sweeps, when you're feeling euphoric, you're feeling on top of the world, and you do feel like everything's going your way, I tell myself, this too shall pass. And then when I'm in that low state, I also tell myself, this too shall pass. I feel good. I know I'm going to feel bad. I feel bad. I know I'm going to feel good. Yeah, complacency is scary. Did you guys see that video I made on complacency? I rather enjoyed that one. And then you have a change in behavior. This is all phase 1. You start acting differently. You still look and sound good on the outside, but you know deep down inside that you're not practicing the program the way you used to. And deep inside, you know something is going wrong. So there's a change in your behavior. There's changes in your feeling. There's changes in your thinking, and there's increased stress. This is all phase 1. This is all the internal. The first part, the first phase of slipping back to the bottle, the pill, the needle, the whatever your drug of choice was. And phase 2 is when we get into denial. During this phase, you stop paying attention to or honestly telling others what you're thinking and feeling. And the most common relapse warning signs are worrying about yourself. Now, this is speaking in first person, so I'm going to read it that way, I guess. It says, I feel uneasy about the changes in my thinking, feeling, and behavior. This is uneasiness comes and goes and usually lasts only a short time. Sometimes I feel afraid that I won't be able to stay sober, but I don't want to think about it. That's not good. So the denial, it's worrying about yourself and then pushing it away. Or you deny that you're worried. I deal with this uneasiness in the same way I used to deal with my addiction. I go into denial and try to persuade myself that everything is okay, when really it isn't. Sometimes the denial works and I can forget about my problems and feel better for a little while. I usually don't know that I am using denial when I'm doing it. It is only when I think about the situation later that I am able to recognize how bad I was feeling and how I denied those feelings. Yeah, it's a scary thing to become complacent. I've made a video called Complacency Can Kill You. And there's actually a video of a guy in work, and I put it in the video. But the guy's at work working around these huge high-powered fans, and he becomes complacent. Oh, you know what? I can pull that little part up. Let me show you something. Let me see if I can do this. All right, here we go, guys. This is a test, okay? Here's a test in my chunk of technology.
It's a technology test.
It's my technology test. I don't know how I'm going to get the sound to play, but whatever. Do-do-do-do. Mm-mm-mm. Where is it? There it is. Let's see. I think I can do screen sharing. Yeah, there it is. So this guy here in the beginning of this video, if you watch, he becomes complacent at the workplace. Let me see. Where is it? I got to fast forward to it. There we go. Here it is. You ready? Okay, watch this. This dude gets complacent. This is complacency around a high-powered fan.
Ooh.
Boom. You see that? And just like in our recovery, complacency can take us there just like that. And that is not good. Well, I successfully used that new chunk of technology. I hope it turned out as good on your end as I think it did on mine. My Savior said to be sober-minded. So when I get complacent, I repent and realize that there is a deeper issue I need to confront. My Savior, huh? Who's your Savior?
My Savior, Jesus Christ.
Amen. Staying busy and being complacent are different. It's true. Yes, they are. I'm just scared to let myself get there. Drinking seems like a good way of fixing my problems. Yeah. Corey, we had an earthquake here in Utah, and instantly I felt like partying. I was like, let's go to the liquor store. It was weird. We got evacuated from our buildings, and my old habitual self decided, I want to get drunk. It was strange. I still have a lot of those little tiny types of triggers. So that's phase. So phase one is internal changes, increased stress, changing in thinking, changing in feeling, and changing in behavior. Phase two is denial, worrying about yourself and then denying that you're worried. And now phase three is avoidance and defensiveness. During this phase, I try to avoid anyone or anything that will force me to be honest about how I'm feeling or thinking, and my behavior change. If I am confronted directly, I get defensive and I can't hear what others are trying to tell me. The most common relapse warning signs are. So do you ever do that? You ever avoid and distance yourself from people you know who are going to call you out? And then when they do call you out, you get all defensive about it. That's a sign. Check yourself when you start feeling that way. Hey, look at that. He's a Christian. Well, it sounds like we're brothers, Corey. That's really cool. Praise God. What's up, stud? My son's walking out. I wasn't calling anybody in particular a stud.
He was talking to Mark.
Yeah, Mark's a stud. No doubt about it.
Yes.
All right. So here's a relapse warning sign in phase 3, avoidance and defensiveness. It's believing I'll never use alcohol or drugs. I convince myself that I don't need to put a lot of energy into my recovery program today because I will probably never go back to alcohol or drug use. I tend to keep this belief to myself, and sometimes I'm afraid to tell my counselor or other recovering people about this belief for fear of being confronted. At other times, I think that it is none of their business. So you're so determined that you're never going to use alcohol or drugs again that you don't put the energy you need into your program. You feel that your commitment to not using is stronger than the program that you need. And I fear it. I know I could go back. If I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, there's a real good chance I'm using. If I'm definitely not going to go to a dope house. I'm definitely not going to go and hang out in a bar. You sit in a bar long enough, you're drinking. Well, I am.
Family barbecues that make me nervous.
Yeah, there's 2 family barbecues. And we don't go to family barbecues on my side of the family, rarely.
Done many yet.
But her side of the family, her mom's side, they're split up, but her mom's side and her dad's side, they both have regularly barbecues, and her dad's side usually pretty wild. Well, no, they're both wild sometimes.
Yeah, they can be.
It just depends. But they know about me now. And so now her mom's side, when they have barbecues, it's usually LT's coming, put the alcohol away. We're not drinking this time. because I'll drink all of it, and then I'll fall down the stairs and tear my ACL.
With oblivious Gramps just watching his cowboy movies.
Not even.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
He's not dead.
Oh, Murky's funny. Yes, he is.
All the time.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. You can't even argue it.
Amen.
You look at the heavens, you see his majesty. They declare who he is. And you're without excuse. Romans. Is this Saturday night? It is Saturday night.
Oh,
We know on the weekends, because we start at 8 o'clock every night. And on the weekends, people usually don't start jumping on here till like 9:30.
oh yeah.
We get late people on the weekends, which is normal. I guess I don't even know how to. Nicole, how do you think about time when you're going live? When I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking Utah time, Mountain time, but then I realize, man, there's people out east that watch this, and that's 2 hours later than it is here. But then I got people in California who are watching, and they're an hour earlier than us. So you can't really schedule it. You just go for it and hope for the best.
This you're overthinking.
Oh, I'm overthinking again. Dang it.
You're like, oh, there's so many time zones. I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna go on twice a day.
I'll just all day. I'll just be on here. Get them all.
Yeah, she comes from a Catholic background too. They're
Catholic on the holidays.
Easter and Christmas Catholics, but they're definitely
Lots.
they're chucking crosses and stuff at you.
Lots of alcohol. A lot of them.
9:51. We're Rosie. So you're 2 hours out, huh? Oh no, you're an hour. So you're middle. You're kind of Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern. Are you Middle Eastern?
You are Middle Eastern. Nice. Well, we're Utah. Yeah, so glad you're here, man. Who did we have yesterday? Oh, Danny. Danny was a new guy yesterday. I haven't seen him tonight.
Then she needs to name you Daniel.
Oh, I'm gonna go use the restroom. Link, you want to sit down and chit chat for a second? I'll be right back.
He'll be back.
I'll be back.
You guys are stuck with us now. He's not gonna let us talk anymore. We gotta talk about stuff. Well, what are you gonna talk about, Linky?
What do the viewers want to talk about?
Way to deflect. I like it.
Put it in the comments. Let's see.
Tell him a joke. You got a joke?
Uh,
Linky's a good jokester.
yes, I am. I will so much. Why did the turkey cross the road?
Why?
Twice. To prove he wasn't a chicken.
That was all right.
Yeah.
Mama says, hey.
Hey.
Isn't it crazy how when you get sober, you start realizing how many people close to you have an addiction problem? And some even realize it. Yeah, that is crazy, Merc. There's a lot of them. I was just telling Raina today about my uncle that died of an overdose. And then
Overdose.
Who died of an overdose?
my uncle Jesse, I think if I remember right, he tried to swallow it, like to get rid of it, and it exploded in his stomach. I don't remember what was in it though.
Probably
I
cocaine.
think it was cocaine. It was speedball.
Oh, cocaine and heroin.
I do believe, if I remember the story correctly. Yeah, my uncle was an alcoholic and he died real young. My grandpa was an alcoholic and he died in his 30s. I think he was 35.
Uncle Paul, did you tell him that one already?
Uncle Paul's my uncle. He's the one that died alcoholic. He was in his 40s. I'm pretty sure he did cocaine too because he had the nail.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah, not my whole family, but lots of them. And it's terrifying. Terrifies me. Addiction does.
I got a joke about an overdose. In your trace, are you overdose?
Huh?
In your trace, are you overdose?
Merc had 3 chickens and they all tried to cross. Now he has 0 chickens. Have you guys seen the giant chickens? They're like as tall as Linky. Those things are terrifying. Yeah, they're huge.
Oh, I had this chicken chase you around the yard.
Yeah, I don't like birds.
But then we go to the zoo. You get peed on by a lion.
and don't even realize it. Yeah, no doubt about it. I have a relative. I don't want to say who they are online just in case somebody gets mad at me. Not you. But he quit drinking years ago because he got an ultimatum from his wife. What? Nothing. I'm not talking to you. Well, then listen.
The story
I have a
just started. You're good.
15-year-old, and talk about relapse prevention and character defects. That's paddling.
He's eating all my Easter eggs.
Come on, get over here and show them who you are so they can see who I'm about to beat. Anyway.
You're trying to say anonymous.
He, after going through what I went through with alcoholism, going through my IOP program, reading this book and understanding that recovery is more than just getting rid of it, he got rid of the alcohol, still a pothead, and he never did a program, never worked his character defects, and he is what you call the dry drunk syndrome, lives in complete addiction mind frame, character defects. It's bad news, and it's ended sadly, not death or anything, but they're not together anymore.
Are you picking his nose?
I was trying to.
Yeah, that's my 15-year-old. That's my oldest boy, Amos. He's the one that gives me gray hair, stress, crow's feet. And he don't even get it. He's just like, what? I don't get it. What are you talking about?
Do you get it?
No, he's 15. He doesn't know anything. I don't remember being that dumb when I was 15. I'll tell you that.
Don't even lie.
What?
Don't even lie.
I'm sure I was. I just can't
Just
believe it was
remember
that
it.
bad.
That's when you're
My
like you were like
goodness.
this at 15.
I moved out as a
The
responsible
day you moved out when you were
15-year-old.
15, you went to a party, right? That's what you told me, right? The day you moved out.
No, that's when I got out of jail when I was 17.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember being that crazy when I was your age. The day I got out of jail, I went to a party. I was 17.
He's like, I just hang out in my bedroom.
I still don't remember being that dumb.
I bet your parents do.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. Teenagers. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's already starting for me.
Yeah, you're easy, man. I'm glad you got your head crushed. Just kidding. It's weird, Corey. Talking about God working in mysterious ways. My son was in a terrible accident, and I couldn't think of anything worse happening, 3 years ago. But the good that has come from it outweighs the bad now. It's weird. It's a miracle. This is awesome. It's storming pretty good tonight. Hey, we've been having a cold spell here in Utah. It's been really cold, storming, snowing. A couple days ago, lots of lightning, lots of thunder. It's been a really cold spell. Surprisingly, we still got the heater on. Normally, we'd probably have the windows open at least by now, but it's okay. I don't mind. I like the cold. I'm built for the cold, fat and hairy.
Love it.
All right, where are we at? Phase what? Oh, we're talking about
Mama wants to know exactly what happened. Tell Mama.
on what?
Linky.
Oh,
Linky, right? She said she watched the video.
okay. So I'll tell him. Link doesn't have a microphone. He's gonna have to yell.
Oh yeah.
So right behind us, there's a hill. It's a pretty doggone steep hill. It's about 2 blocks long. It's a good grade. And did you see the machine that was tipped over? The kids decided to take that machine up the hill. That machine barely goes 8 miles an hour. Just a little tiny farm truck, something for around the yard. The kids used to just putt around here from here to the neighbor's house. From here, they'd sleep in it. And, it was their little cool truck. But their dad hooked it up with speakers. And we thought it was cool. We're like, man, that is awesome. If I was a kid, I'd love to have that thing.
Yeah.
But May 30th, 2017, they decided to take it up this steep hill with 7 kids in it total. And nobody knew. None of the parents knew. It was just a normal day. They put it in neutral and came down, and they hit about 40 miles an hour, lost control, and flipped it. It threw all the other kids out.
I held on.
And Link, he was kind of on the side it tipped towards. He kind of probably just flinched and hung on. It flung him underneath the machine. the machine landed on top of his head, drug him down the road, and came off and crushed his skull from ear to ear all the way back. And this eye right here, dang near hanging out. When I found, I was there like 1 second after it happened. Blood, all kinds of blood, and he was gasping just for life. And my sister actually showed up right before I did. My sister actually saw it happen. There was a weird, crazy chain of events. All right, let me start over. So they go up the hill, they come down. My sister, she lives 2 blocks up the street from me. She lives at the top of this hill, and I live at the bottom of it. Her daughter was sick, so her daughter was like, "Hey, mom, can you go to Wendy's and get me some chili?" And she says, "Sure." So she backs out of the driveway just as the kids had flipped a Yui and started going down the hill. So my sister's following him and sees it happen. So she flies up there, hits the brakes, runs over, just running, looking at all the kids. They're screaming, runs over to him as Amos flipped him on his back, my oldest boy, and then Amos took off running and came and got me. But my sister looked at him, and being a nurse, she went right into action, gave him CPR, bam, bam, bam. And I showed up like right after CPR, and I grabbed her and chucked her off of him, and I flipped him over because his mouth was just filling up with blood and he was choking on it. So I flipped him over and started draining all the blood out of his mouth, and I'm just screaming, "What do I do?" I didn't know. So I was yelling at him, "Come on, Link, stay," just like the movies, "Stay with me, stay with me." And I told him, "Squeeze my finger," and he squeezed my finger every time I told him to squeeze it. So I was like, wow, he doesn't remember, but he did that. And it seems like just seconds later, a doctor, no kidding doctor, showed up, and he's wearing a t-shirt and shorts. He's got his medical bag, and he kind of bumps me over, unzips his medical bag and pulls out his instruments and starts doing this suction in his throat. And then just in the distance, you can hear, you hear the sirens, and just louder and louder and louder and louder until there was just cops and ambulances everywhere. And the ambulances and police took over, and I get up and I got blood all over me. And so that little timeline was just amazing. So they loaded him up in an ambulance. I jumped in the front seat with the guy. We drove down to the nearest hospital, and we come out of the ambulance, boom, the doors fly open, and there's like 25 doctors standing around in this circle. And I'm just, at that point, I was like, I knew how bad it was, but everything I kept seeing just shows how bad it was. And I'm like, is it this bad? So they take him in, they take pictures, and it'd only been a couple seconds, it seemed. A few minutes later, you hear the helicopter land, and they rush us out. Me and him jump on that helicopter that you see in that video, and we fly over to Primary Children's in Salt Lake. And the same thing, come off the helicopter, walk in, boom, doors open, and there's more doctors this time, everybody in masks and just ready to go. And they're taking pictures, and they finally tell me, "You need to go wash up." I had blood all over me. And then he stayed in the hospital for 2 months. And
so that doctor that showed up in the t-shirt and the shorts, his son actually was a janitor at the elementary school who was just getting off work and saw the whole thing happen. So he called his dad real quick that lived down the street, and that's how that doctor got there so fast. So it's crazy. Like everything worked out just perfect.
And here I am today.
And here he is today.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I have 2 belly buttons. And then I'm gonna feed you.
I'll show you the machine. I'll kind of walk you through it.
Drink.
I can do this cool screen sharing thing. But let me see. Let me pop this up here. So you can see this is the machine right here that it happened on. Let's see, we'll go through it. That's actually him. That was that day. This is the machine right here. You can see tipped over this way. This is that doctor I told you about in the shorts. And then the paramedics. I don't know who took the picture. It was on the news.
Yeah, some news person.
And this is actually the machine. So if you look here, this tire is what landed on his head. And that's Link's blood, all that right there. He was laying here when I got there because the machine was tipped over. That's where the front tire was, and that's where the back tire was. And then we flew. And this is actually, I took these pictures of us in the helicopter. That's him in the helicopter. You can see where the cement was right here, and it crushed his head. And this is, now at this point, he's really swelling up. And this was his secret name, ZZZMK Sheet. That was his secret name when we were in there. Because we had media. I mean, news was, all the local news channels were were right here on us.
Where's my ear?
His ear, you can see, is ripped off almost. But this is where his head drug down the road. It broke his collarbone. But yeah, it was bad. Oh yeah, and then at this point, well, not yet, but here we're still where he's just, you can see his tongue sticking out. They got this so he doesn't bite his tongue off.
That was after they did the bone flap.
No, this is, oh yeah, it is. So yeah, you can see the scar here, or the cut. That's where they did the bone flap. They pulled out. So right now he's missing, in this picture, he's missing this part of his skull. So because his brain just kept swelling and swelling and swelling. But that's what we saw the day that they told us to pull the plug. His eye, you can see he's just nothing. There was nothing there. There was like no life. And then everybody got all, or where's the shoes? Oh well. But yeah, look at all the cords and wires in him, man. It's insane.
Oh, you've passed the shoes.
Oh, and then right here was the first time he opened his eye. Where is it? Oh, there's the shoes. So yeah, here's the shoes. They kept those shoes on him because they didn't want his calves or whatever to.
It's like drop foot is what they call it, where your foot drops and you have to do therapy.
This is one of the first times that he opened his eye. So then he started all of a sudden just coming back. It was a trip.
This is right after, maybe a day after he got his whole face put back together. They had to go in and put all the bones in his face back together.
So he's got all kinds of metal.
And then that's when he started waking up. His nose was broken, so they put that thing on there. His mouth is wired shut.
Now, there's a story behind this fidget spinner. I put this in the video on purpose because when before the accident, he just loved fidget spinners. He was making them out of wood. He was anything around the house he could put into 3 pieces and spin it. He was doing it. And so it was right after he barely opened his eyes, he started kind of coming back. And I had to go back to work at this point because I'd been off work for so long. And we saw that he opened his eye. I can't remember if it was the weekend or what, but I went up there.
Weekend.
It was okay. So it was the weekend. I go up and I was staying there on the weekends with him at that point. And I'm in there and I'm trying to get him to open his eye, because I only saw it on the video. And I'm like, hey, buddy, open your eye. It's dad. Dad's here. Open your eye. And he's just laying there. Nothing. Right. And I'm like, I got a fidget spinner. And he instantly opens his eye and looks over at me. He could only open one eye at the time. So he opened his eye and looked over at me. And I handed it. Well, I tried to hand it to him. And so Millie, you can see her little arm in there holding his hand. That's our daughter's arm holding his arm up because he was too weak. And I put it in his hand and he went for it. he spun it.
It was a trip because he wasn't doing anything. And all of a sudden he's just flipping the fidget spinner.
Yep. And so that was another stepping stone of miracle and just praise. And we were jumping in joy. And we had the nurses jumping and giggling and laughing and all that stuff too.
Oh, all the dance parties.
Yeah, we had lots of dance parties.
God's got great plans for you.
True that.
After the accident, Corey, you'll appreciate this.
Cody.
He had no interest in praying or God or learning about the Bible before the accident. And after the accident, that's like all he wants to do is learn and pray. And just he has so much joy and love for God. It's crazy. God is amazing.
God brought me. They asked me how I get here.
So
God brought me.
If you're gonna talk, you gotta talk loud.
When they ask me how I get here, I say God brought me.
So after that accident, so during this whole time, 2017, I'm still drinking every night a pint. And we stayed at the Ronald McDonald House. I was going to the liquor store and bringing it and getting drunk at the Ronald McDonald House. And my drinking after this accident went through the roof. That's when it turned into close to fifths a night. I started missing work. And until it led up to August 2019 when I quit, August 17th, 19th, that weekend, I had to quit. Checked myself into rehab after that. I didn't use it as an excuse because I was already drinking and a drunk alcoholic. But after that accident, it definitely increased tenfold. Tried to kill myself with it pretty much. And then I got to group therapy and realized how much it did affect me and had to process. When I had to read one of my steps when I was in my IOP, we had to do homework. And when you're doing your homework, you handwrite everything and then you got to read it to the group out loud. And a part of it came up when I had to talk about this and I had a hard time getting through it. And So they encouraged me to process it with the main counselor, Rick. And so I did. And he helped me, walked me right through it. Just when you realize the powerlessness of yourself, you really are not in control of much in this world. You weren't in control of the day you were born. You weren't in control of your parents and who they are. All of a sudden, you just showed up in the skin you showed up in. You're not in control of the weather. You're not in control of the traffic. Think about the things you actually are in control of. That accident, I had no control over. I had no way to forecast or prevent it. There's nothing I could have done. You can say what if all day, and that's what I did. What if this? What if that? But just understanding our complete powerlessness. And that's that part of denial, thinking that I'm okay, I got this, I'm in control. And that's why we must focus on our recovery. And that's why we must put our energy into our recovery.
Nothing can change the past.
Yeah, past is done. It's gone. Yep. All right, so we're on phase 3, avoidance and defensiveness. And then believing I'll never use alcohol. I will never do it again. And relying on your commitment to alcohol, abstinence from alcohol or drugs, that your commitment is stronger than a program you need to work. So number 3 on phase 3 is worrying about others instead of self. I take the focus off myself by becoming more concerned about the sobriety of others than about my personal recovery. I privately judge the drinking or using of my friends and spouse and recovery programs of other recovering people. I keep these private judgments to myself and don't talk about them. This is often called work in the other guy's program. Work in the other guy's program. What do you think about that? You guilty of that at all ever? I am. Worrying about others instead of self. Can you shut that heater off?
Yeah. Maybe.
Hot. Use your foot.
Thank you. Will you shut it off? I can't reach it. Really not long enough.
Oh, it's right on you.
Okay. I think it's time to see. Veronica, you still hanging out? I want to watch our little video for you again. Show Corey what we did here. Do. Down.
Happy birthday to you.
Have a good night, Mama.
Have a good night, Mama.
Sleep good.
Going to bed, but
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. Merck works an honest, good program. And it was 6 years ago, he said he finally started working a program in his sobriety. He was a dry drunk with stinking thinking until then. Merck's somebody I look up to big time.
It's because he looks like John Wayne.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Dad, I look up to tall people.
Me too. I look up to tall people a lot. All right. So defensiveness. My sponsor reminds me that nothing is my business. It's true.
It is true.
Pride comes before the fall. Amen to that. And nothing is our business. It's true. Other people's recovery is it's good to help support. And when do you cross the line? Okay. Speaking of working the other person's program, when do we finally cross the line when we're actually calling people out? You know what I mean? When does it actually become unhealthy judgment? It's when you're not working yours, when your standards, you're not living by the standards you're making them live up to. When you see somebody slipping, it's good to be called out. I know that I love the group that I'm in and the people that I've surrounded myself with at my action program, because they call me out and they know me well enough to call me out. And then I call them out in the same way, in the same manner. But when do we cross that line? When does worrying about others become a warning sign that you're in relapse? I enjoy online recovery community. We're taking over the world. Yeah, we are. And it ain't going to quit, Merc. I'm telling you, we're riding this to the end. Yep. Melissa's heading to bed. Hey, Danny, you're back.
What's that?
Welcome. We're just going through some warning signs of relapse right now. I think we lost Veronica. Or when you're not doing it because you're careful, but to feel better about your sobriety or so. Yeah. That's when you're into your character defect of criticism, when you're tearing somebody else down to make yourself feel better, right? That's what I think. If I'm working my program, I can suggest things, but that's it. Yeah, true that. You got to be working a program. And if you're not continuing to grow in your program, what do you really have to offer? That's why I continue to try to put myself in the position I've put myself in here in front of the camera, hold myself accountable, making myself stand out in the community. So I have to live above reproach. And also learning literature, digging deeper. And then you dig deeper, and then you hear people that have dug deep too, and then they throw out new comment. What did Bob say the other night about? Do I feel loved? He said something else too. That was really,
That was our challenge. Let other people love us.
yeah, to let people. Yeah, we had a challenge yesterday to let people give us a gift or do something for us, and then our response was to be thank you, and that was it, and not oh you didn't have to do that. That was our challenge, wasn't it? We gotta start writing our challenges down so I don't forget.
I'm making notes now.
There you are. And then 3-4 is compulsive behavior. Compulsive behavior. I start using compulsive behavior because, let me read that. Let me start over with that. I start using compulsive behaviors to keep my mind off how uncomfortable I am feeling. I get stuck in old, rigid, and self-defeating ways of thinking and acting. I tend to do the same thing over and over again without a good reason. I try to control conversations either by talking too much or not talking at all. I start working more than I need to and get involved in many activities. Other people think I am the model of recovery because of my heavy involvement in the 12-step work and chairing meetings. I become active in my therapy group by planning therapists, but I am reluctant to talk about my personal problems. I avoid casual and informal involvement with people unless I can be in control. That makes me think of what Steve said Wednesday. Sometimes it's your turn to share, and sometimes it's your turn to listen. If you're always trying to be in control, you're always trying to put yourself in the spotlight. But when it comes to talking about you and your deep problems, that's compulsive behavior. That is a sign of relapse to come. Relapse you're in that will lead to drinking or using again. What?
Mark is off to bed.
Night, Merc.
Come on, tell him good night.
Oh, it's 9:17. Yeah, it is kind of late.
Well, I just want to add something. Don't dig yourself too deep into drugs and alcohol, because you might not be able to get out of that hole.
That's true. And if you took a ladder, it could be too much for the ladder, even.
Yeah. There's a lot of
It's like that crazy show we watched last night.
Yeah, that's what it made me think of. Always welcome. You know that. We love having you.
Sure, I remember what that show was called. That was nuts.
April Emily. I just got to, so about what other people think of you and all that kind of stuff. Somebody commented on a recovery video that I did, and their channel's April Emily. It says that I want to be on the Showtime Recovery and I help no one. But that's okay. I feel bad for people like that live in constant criticism. Somebody that has to come and watch and then just reply with negativity. That's just not a place I want to be in. I feel bad for people that are just think of what they're going through to a day-to-day life, living in criticism and hate and just critical thinking about everything but themselves. And I know somebody at work like that. Oh my gosh.
Bob Ross says,
I'm not allowed to talk to that person.
I didn't mess up. I just made a happy mistake.
Bob Rossett.
It's Leonard. My real name's Leonard, but everybody calls me LT Weaver. LT. I go by LT. It's my initials, LT. His initials are LT as well.
FTW.
So LT's fine. My friends call me LT, so call me LT.
LT on time.
Have you ever had
Thanks. I love these.
you want them? No, you can have it.
Okay, I'll eat it later.
I just gotta get
Millie just learned what Cadbury eggs are and that they have candy yolk in the middle. She's real excited about it.
They're delicious. There's no doubt about
I was
it.
confused for a minute. thought that was real egg yolk.
She thought it was real egg yolk.
Like, yeah.
Yes, this is coffee, Danny. It's Saturday.
Dude,
It's Saturday. I can drink coffee.
I went on a trip tomorrow because of the stupid coronavirus.
Yeah, we are stuck in the house tomorrow because of the coronavirus. So on days we don't have anything, on the days we can sleep in, we just hang out online a little longer than normal. During the week, if we have to get up and go to work, I try to keep it to pretty much exactly an hour.
I just saw another video pop in. Comment who it is.
Mom.
But on the weekends, we just kind of just let it roll. All right, so impulsive behavior. So what's the difference between compulsive behavior and impulsive behavior? So impulsive behavior is I start creating problems for myself by using poor judgment and impulsively doing things without thinking them through. This usually happens at times of high stress. Sometimes I privately feel bad, but I tend to make excuses and blame others for the problems. Impulsive. Yes, Danny. I agree with Alicia. It's a meeting. We have to have coffee. Yes, they're delicious, huh, Gina? Is there a difference? Now I'm going to talk about what we got going on here. Is there a difference in our audio now that we each have a microphone? Is it a little better? I hope so. I want to make it sound good for you guys. And also, if you didn't want to watch the video, you could just put it down and listen, like a podcast kind of a thing. This is what I was thinking. All right, so here's another one on phase 3, step 6, tendency towards loneliness. I start feeling uncomfortable around others and start spending more time alone. I usually have good reasons and excuses for staying away from other people. I start feeling lonely instead of dealing with loneliness by trying to meet and be around other people. I get more compulsive about doing things alone. Tendency towards loneliness. Start feeling uncomfortable around others when you decide you want to be alone. And you come up with good excuses to stay away from people. And then you start feeling lonely. We're not created to be alone. It's nice to be alone sometimes, but for the most part, we are to be fellowshipping, lifting each other up.
I read a quote the other day. It said, "Life is short. Cherish every moment you have and spend it with your family and friends."
Amen. It is true.
From a 6 foot.
When I'm 90 years old, I don't want to regret anything anymore. I've already lived my first half of my life addicted to drugs and alcohol with a brief moment of sobriety. I was sober from age 1 to 12 or 13. And then from 28 to 33, I was for the most part sober. And then 33 to 40, raging alcoholic. And if I would have died at 40 of alcoholism, what would my obituary have said? And now I'm going to rewrite my obituary so that if I do die in 10, 20, 30 years from now, it'll say something I am proud to be. What is your obituary going to say? Write it down. And that's the recovery program we need to be living in. And when I'm 90, I'm not going to be living in regret. I'm going to do better this last half of my life. So if we live on average on Earth 72 years, my life is half over. I have 32 years left if I die at the average Earth age.
I just thought of something.
You introverted there, Cody?
Okay. Write down what you think your obituary would say now, and a few months from now, write down what you think it would say then.
When life is so stressful, especially in relationships, being alone is a lot easier. Yeah. It's hard to deal with people. We all have idiosyncrasies. Some people we like, some people we don't. Even if you really like somebody, being around them too much, you're going to argue and bump heads. Agreed. Loneliness or being alone. I prefer being secluded at home than out in public anymore these days. But introverted, My extroverted side is the party animal. I love to party. And that's a problem for me. I think I've been in relapse mode for a while. I just don't have the cravings to use. I had a tragic event in 2015. What phase do you think you're at? There's all these different phases, right? What phase do you think you're at? So there was a change in 2015. There was stress. You possibly had denial about it. Your post-acute withdrawal syndromes started acting up. Your behavior changed. Your breakdown of social structure. And then you lose control of judgment. You lose behavioral control, option reduction, acute degeneration, and then finally you'll use. Continuing down that path, right? So where do you think you're at in relapse? Have you caught it now, or have you disrupted this progression? What do you mean you stepped out of life for a couple of years? Like recently or just now or
After the accident, probably.
after 2015, your tragedy?
Oh, that's a tough one. I have a friend and her daughter's tried a couple times and she has a hard time dealing with it.
What? Who?
Oh, guilt. My daughter committed suicide. Your things blocking it.
Oh, Ash, Alicia. My heart goes out to you big time. Big time. We have a guy at work who his son committed suicide as well.
Ooh, and Chad.
And then one of my good buddies did. Good kid, man. He was only like 24. I was his wage leader at work. We actually went razor riding together. He looked up to me, and I tried to steer him in the right direction, but he did it, man. That's good.
I feel like I stepped out of life for a couple of years.
I did too after him.
While you were drinking.
That too. Oh, yeah, you had double tragedy, huh? A raging alcoholic husband and then a kid that basically died. His personality changed. So, a sense he died because the kid he was from 0 to 9, we had to get to learn who Linky was when he was. Now it's funny because I made a whole bunch of videos. I'm going to throw a link up here.
It was weird. It was like raising an infant to a 7-year-old in warp speed. It was the weirdest thing.
You're gonna throw a link about a link.
I'll walk you guys through some cool stuff about Link's recovery because we really did have to get to know him. But now that we've known him, we're almost on 3 years as far as the anniversary of the accident goes. And I created, so after that video on YouTube that I made of the accident and what I went through, we started documenting his recovery, and I made him a Facebook page. And we've had this Facebook page up until right now. Let me get through. I'll show you a couple of things, but knowing him now, 3 years later, I look back at these videos and I say, oh, okay, now I know him. But at first, when he was coming to and recovering, oh, it's loading all slow. I'm just gonna throw the link in there if you guys are interested. You can join Link's Facebook group. Oops, Command C. Now, if you go to this Facebook page here and you scroll, just click on it when you get a chance, scroll all the way to the bottom to the very first post, and that will be where that video left off. The video leaves off where the Facebook page picks up, and then you can kind of just scroll through and watch his progression. And now the live YouTubes have taken, so it went from the YouTube video to the Facebook page, and now from the Facebook page to some random pictures, now to our live feeds are kind of taken. Watching you recover.
I'm still recovering from the accident and recovering from his addiction.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Mom's recovering from both too. We're all recovering.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this is family recovery.
Yeah, I feel like I'm finally getting myself back too, Alicia.
Me too.
It's nice. It's nice to be back, not be so secluded and to myself. This helps too.
We're all in this together.
Hey, Corey, or Cody, if you guys want, hey, Corey, do you want to jump on here live with us right now? I'll send a link if if you want to share your story, it's up to you. No pressure. It's just a suggestion. But I can throw a link into the description. You click it, and you'll basically Skype with us, but you'll be live on the channel. And if you are interested, I'll put it in there for you. Up to you. No pressure. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. No biggie. Oh, sweet. Corey found our Facebook page. I'm going to approve you right now, man. Approve.
Approved. He said, sure. They're throwing a link.
Oh, really?
Let me jump in the screen.
Very funny, Link. Very funny.
Should we toss a link in there? Look what I have.
That is awesome. Look, he still has the hat.
What's that?
Okay, no worries, Cody. There's no pressure to ever jump on our show. It's just when I get tired of reading and I don't want to go through the book too fast and I don't want to talk too much. And if somebody wants to jump on here and share their story, I'm always happy to let that be. The more the merrier, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, that audio does sound good. Hello. Welcome to ASMR. Can you hear me, honey?
I can hear you.
Here and share their story. I'm happy to let that be. The more the merrier, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, that audio does sound good. Hello. Welcome to ASMR. Playing.
How's it going?
Can you hear me, honey? Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
share
hear you.
their story. Okay. Is your volume up on your the more the merrier video playing or something?
I might need to put on headphones.
How's that? So where did you say you were from? What part of Washington? Ham, or what did you say?
Billingham.
Oh, Billingham.
Billingham? Is that what it was? Something like that.
I don't know.
He put it up there. I can't remember exactly.
I don't know either.
Definitely, maybe.
Can't believe he still has that hat.
You
That's
don't
funny.
look like him.
Now he just got she's all shaved up. There we go.
Oh, now he can hear us.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah, I'm just from Bellingham, Washington. So, okay, that's better. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think you have something playing in the background.
Oh. Yeah, I'm just
You have some audio
Bellingham,
turned up that's
Washington.
making it loop itself.
Okay, that's better. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think you have something playing in the background.
Oh. Okay, I think that's what it was. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So when you're on live with us, it's straight up like a Skype conversation.
Yeah, that's yeah, I didn't know it was I forgot to I didn't
It
turn
probably
off
opened a new window, maybe.
Yeah, I was hearing double everything. So, I was like, what's going on?
Who's
So
talking?
yeah.
Cool, bro. It's nice to meet you. It's
Yeah,
cool
nice to meet you.
Put the face to the name.
Yep. Yeah, I'm Corey anyway. So right now I'm living at a redemption place in Bellingham. I've been here for about since November, and I got 15 months of recovery. So yeah, it's really good. I'm 36. Just doing my best to keep on focusing on the Lord and just staying in support groups and just I think that's the biggest thing. Last year I got stuck in jail, and immediately the first thing I sought out was a Bible. And in jail, I had friends. They were asking me for if I wanted to use drugs in jail. I mean, so it was pretty crazy. Just I've been through a lot of stuff. Whoa! I'm now I'm on it. So yeah, no, I just yeah, that's what's going on right now. Uh, I yeah. So
So, what was your drug of choice, and how long were you an addict?
well, I started using drugs when I was about 15 years old,
Uh huh.
and I smoked pot, and when I was older, actually when I was still in high school, probably 18, I started getting involved in harder drugs. Um, I was drinking cough syrup, and
Robitussin.
yeah, we did that. We had I was doing Ritalin,
Oh, yeah.
and pills. I would do pretty much anything except for I didn't do I I never did like heroin or shot up until later in life, when I was probably like in my late 20s.
Uh huh.
Um, but I've had a up and down road. My dad, he was uh he had cancer while I was growing up, so I had a lot of depression and just a lot of stuff going on in high school. And but at the same time, I'm lucky I had God with me, because even though I was screwing up, I still had God with me. I was going to church, and God was a huge part of my life. And if it weren't for Him, I won't be here today. I mean, so I'm
What was?
just I'm blessed.
Yeah. Amen. When was the first moment you think God came into your life? When you or like got saved or whatever?
um, I was, a lot of it had to. I think
Pre-addiction
I
or post-addiction?
when I well, it's kind of hard to say, because it's been like I've had a lot of when I was growing up, like I was very close to God, like in my heart, but I was I wasn't able to, like, I had a lot of self-consciousness issues. And so I wasn't able, like I said, like I couldn't say no. And so, because I was self-medicating, and just a lot of my addiction, it wasn't that I was falling from my faith, but I wasn't able to, I didn't have support. I was getting angry at God, and I kept on putting my fist up at him and saying, no, uh, I need to, I went along with my friends, and did things that later I would regret. And then, so it was up and down and up and down. But I was about 30. Uh, I, I got thrown in jail, and I picked up the Bible, and that's when my thinking turned around, or actually like my behavior,
Hmm.
because I started reading the Bible, and I started reading it every day, and that changed my life significantly. Because for once, instead of just like being like, God, I like would say prayers and stuff, and like I meant them, and I was like, I was sorry, and I knew I wanted a better life than I was giving myself. But I wasn't able to like do anything about it, because I wasn't doing what God wanted me to do, because I wasn't reading the Bible, and I wasn't seeking out to, tell people what I was going through, or say anything. I just didn't want to do this stuff that I should do.
Right.
And so as soon as I started doing that, things changed, and I got baptized 4 years ago, and I got thrown in jail right after that, like maybe a year later. But it was it's crazy because God had a plan, and he's like, you need to have a support group. You need fellowship. You need people encouraging you. And so that's what I've been doing this whole past year. I'm looking at my life, and I'm like, I'm having all these triggers happen. People come along, and I'm working, and they'll be like, we'll be two Christian guys, sitting there talking about like the old days or something, getting on that subject, and then I get into that stinking thinking about like, oh, it wouldn't be so bad, or basically I just like think that if I drank, I wouldn't have these like self-conscious thoughts or something.
Right.
And I could easily just make my life better socially or whatever, but it's not the truth.
No.
It's not the truth. And so
I still have that same fantasy in the back of my head. Like one day I'll be able to have a couple drinks on the weekend and it'll be fine. And it's like, nope, that's stinking thinking.
yeah, no, it's only, and I've had that so often, and but that's what fellowship and support is doing for me right now, is helping me look forward, because I'm out on bail right now actually, and I'm fighting this case because I just it's a whole nother story anyway.
Yeah.
But the thing is I know that when this is done, all said and done, I don't have any legal stuff going on. I'm looking at my life, and I'm gonna have to make the decision to keep on this program and keep living the life that God wants for me, because it isn't about me, it's about him.
Right.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's the truth. It's not always easy, but I got to put my knees to the ground and just give all glory to the God. He's got a better plan for my life than I do, and so yeah, I'm a blessed man to be alive today.
So that redemption living you're in right now, tell us about that. What's that like?
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's a faith-based, clean and sober house, and we have 6 guys living here. We actually have 4 houses, and there's more than 40 people staying through the 4 houses. And the guy who started was named Lance. He started these houses and actually built 2 houses on this. It's a dead end block on our street, and really just helping a lot of people out, and it's really awesome. So we're all just bundled up here in the house and quarantined.
Are you guys able to fellowship, or are you just pretty much secluded to your bedrooms, or what? How's that affecting you guys?
We're doing it like by house, and then a couple of the houses it's by floors. So
Oh wow.
yeah, because they're like 3 or 4 story houses, so they're big houses. So it's really cool.
That is cool. I had a question, but I forgot. Totally went out of my brain. What was I gonna say? Well, shoot.
You were gonna say something about Corey,
Yep,
and it was a question about his house.
it was. So the quarantine. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Do you guys have like daily chores, and like do you have to mow the lawn and all that kind of stuff there, or what? Do you have a work release program?
Yeah, it's we all get a one chore to like this week I got trash duty. So but we have trash floors. We have a bathroom that rotates according to the floor, kitchen and living area, and so we got different chores. We all help in the house. We have a house meeting each Sunday, and so we try to get along and just relate together and communicate and enjoy some social time and try not to isolate. I have a tendency to isolate, but a little bit anyway.
Yeah,
but it's getting better. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, we're all here proud of you for sure. How clean you are, where your head's at, and we're going to be praying that you get through these legal battles and come out on the other end better.
I sure appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad to have found you. You guys were the first hit I got. I found you, and I was like, I'm gonna check it out anyway. And what do you know? It was you guys. So
And now
yeah,
here we are talking.
yeah.
That is so cool. And it was us live when you did it, or was it us when like a pre-recorded?
It was, well, I noticed it was one just I wanted to look at it, and because I knew I had to do a meetings. We have to do a certain amount of meetings per week, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, so it's not just like you can just live here and just slack off or anything. You got to be serious about your recovery.
Good.
So which is really good. So
How do you account for the meetings that you do and all that kind of stuff?
basically it's on a what do you call it, you just got to be honest about it, but we're all honest guys here, and
Sure.
if you miss one, you just tell them and then you can make it up. So it's pretty easy, but I mean, if you didn't do meetings, somebody around here would know. They would figure it out. But we're all
Alicia has a question for you.
it's a sober living environment. So
there's no counselors. So like treatment would be more of group therapy, things
yeah,
like that. Or is this a place you just kind of hold yourself accountable to
yep,
some of their expectations?
yep. But we have a house meeting, so we're required to get a sponsor on phase one, and like when I first came in, we had to do 30 meetings in 30 days.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's definitely a blessing in my life right now. It's I wouldn't be doing as well as I am doing without having this environment, and just yeah, I mean, I've been a lot of other places. I've lived at the mission. I've been a couch surfer,
Oh, yeah.
and it's not the same thing. It's like even living. I've lived at with my grandparents, and it doesn't work for me. Like having a place like this gives me, like I can relate with people who are my peers who know what I'm going through and
Yeah.
the same kind of stuff, and so we're all looking out for each other, and it's um even just being able to, like, I'm in a shared room, so I have a guy living in the same room as me, and just it's just a good thing, to have to like watch myself, like how I'm getting and whether I'm getting stressed, and it helps me really just uh, identify a lot of my what's going on with me, because sometimes if you're not like looking at yourself and how you're reacting with other people, you can't grow. I mean, it's
No.
like if I'm just always downstairs at my grandparents' house like playing video games or something, I'm not growing, because I'm just down there at the house there, and it's
That's
not really.
stagnant. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, but yeah, I feel like I'm definitely growing a lot. So
Awesome.
I'm in a group called Prodigal as well, and it's really great because it's kind of like my church group, because we sing hymns and everything, and I also get prayer from them in a small group as well. So it's something that I can take, when I do end up uh, moving into another place or something. It's another small group, and it's really cool. So yeah, we all go to church. So once a week we have to go to church, and
What kind of church do you go to?
um I go to, well, my mom's married to a guy, and he's a pastor at it's a fairly larger contemporary church.
Oh, cool.
And
You
so
get to choose the church you go to, or do they tell you which one to go to?
no, you can choose your own.
Oh.
But I go to that church, but there's actually 6 or 7 campuses in the Whatcom County. So, but I don't always go to that church. I go to more than one church.
Yeah, we bounce around a little bit too.
Yeah. So there's another church called Cornwall Church. I go to that one, or I've gone to that one now, and I like that one. I like Christ the King. I might be going to a smaller church though. That's just starting, so it's pretty cool. You know, I'm thinking about going to that one. But yeah, right now I don't have a car, so it's like a lot of times it puts a little bit of a damper on exactly like maybe where I would prefer to go, or just, you know, it is what it is. But you know, that's why I have Prodigal right now is kind of my church group. I consider it, and it's cool. We got to go on a winter retreat, and for 3 days I got for $25 I got buffet all weekend long. So I was like, yeah, I don't have to make dinner.
Good deal.
So
I like those retreats. They're fun.
yeah,
Cool.
it's really awesome to get to meet you guys. I'm so glad I found you guys.
Yeah, praise God. I'm glad you found us too. Nothing happens for there's no such thing as coincidence or chance, huh?
No, this is definitely the Lord's blessings here.
Yeah, did you see what Gina said to you?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. That's cool. I mean, yeah, God's the one who has done this in my life. So, you know, all glory be to him.
Yes. Let me change my battery real quick. Go ahead and keep talking, bro.
I'm not sure what to say.
I know he says that. I get all like, bring him up to you.
I got a really good Bible. If you guys don't have it, it's called the Recovery Bible.
Recovery Bible?
Yeah, it's really cool. It has devotions in it that you can read that they go on all the steps. So it has the 12 steps, and it does a bunch of devotionals and has insights on them, and where they fit in with the Bible, and different, you know, it's really cool. So
That's cool. I didn't know that they made a recovery Bible.
yep.
That's pretty neat. I'll have to get one. I want to read it.
A recovery Bible?
Yeah, it's got the 12 steps and stuff and goes through it.
Oh, really? I definitely have to snag one of those.
Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah, I got when I moved in, they actually presented one to me. So
Oh, cool.
So what to wear and what's for dinner.
yeah, true that.
That's funny. Cool. Well, I hope you continue coming back to our show or whatever.
Yeah,
you
I
wanna
will
call
do
this.
that.
I don't even know what to call it. If I call it NA meeting, I feel like I'm doing copyright infringements.
I like it right now. It's cool. Yeah, that's really awesome. So
Yeah, we're on 8 o'clock every. What time is it where you're at?
it is almost 9 o'clock. So
Okay, so you're an hour behind us.
Yep.
Okay, so
Washington.
yeah, it's all it's almost 10
Washington.
here.
Ooh. You're not in the busy part of Washington, are you? Like,
I'm north. I'm close to Canada. So
Oh, cool.
oh, okay. Our boy lives in Washington right now.
Yeah, my middle son, he's up there with his real mom, his biological mother.
oh yeah, it's a really beautiful area for sure. I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah.
So well, it's nice to meet you guys.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
You have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow night if you can make it. If not, we'll see you Monday or Tuesday or we'll be here every night.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, brother. See ya.
Oh, 2 days
See you later.
is one of your birthdays.
What?
His sober day is 12:30.
Who?
Corey.
Oh, where is it? I'm looking.
I got it.
Oh, I see.
It's the 28th, so
That's
2
cool.
days. I'm like my birthday, something rather.
Raina's praying for him too. That's great. That's awesome. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to read out of our daily
Forget-
reflection,
forget my
and we
shit,
are
it's
going
close.
to say the Serenity Prayer. It is March. What do you need, Danny? What does
One of
Danny
them
need?
recovery Bibles.
Oh yeah, I want to get one too. March 28th. This is called Equality. We'll wait for the kids and then we'll read this.
You talk a lot quieter with your headphones on.
Yeah, because my mouth's right up on the microphone. You should hear it. Put your headphones
I
on.
know, it's
It'll keep you in
loud.
check. Now I'm gonna think I'm gonna wear them more often so I can hear. So I'm not screaming in this thing. 'Cause I would be screaming in this thing. You coming, honey?
Millie likes to close with us. She's
Yeah.
on her way.
She's our daughter, obviously.
You pick a wreck.
She's Rick.
Okay, March 28th, Equality. Our membership ought to include all who suffer from alcoholism. Hence, we may refuse none who wish to recover, nor ought AA membership ever depend upon money or conformity. Any 2 or 3 alcoholics gathered together for sobriety may call themselves an AA group, provided that, as a group, they have no other affiliations. Prior to AA, I often felt that I didn't fit in with the people around me. Usually they had more or less money than I did, and my points of view didn't jive with theirs. The amount of prejudice I had experienced in society only proved to me just how phony some self-righteous people are. After joining AA, I found the way of life I had been searching for in AA. No member is better than any other member. We're just alcoholics trying to recover from alcoholism. True that.
Let's join hands.
True to the this, that, what?
Go to the very bottom.
Thank you, LT Fleece. Thank you guys rock. Hey, Gina, thank you for being here again with us tonight.
You rock for showing up tonight.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
great. Ready? God,
God,
grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can,
and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
All right.
Love that prayer.
Amen. Amen.
You guys have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Peace out. Love you.
Love you.
Hugs.
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 Hugs. Family hug.
Okay, remember, work your programs, stay strong, and remember, we recover better together.